Verse 11. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vedanti Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tate Padam Sagrahena Pravakshe. Great sages in the renounced order of life and scholars of the Vedas accept the vow of celibacy and utter Om to enter into Brahman. I shall now explain this process to you. Verse 12. Sarvadvarani samyamya mano hridi nirudiyacha murjanayatmana pranam ashito yoga dharanam. One should control all the senses and concentrate the mind within the heart, fixing the life airs between the eyebrows and fully absorbing oneself in yoga. Verse 13. Om itik daksaram brahma viharamam manusmaran ya prayate chajandeham sayate paramam gatim. Thus, by chanting the great monosyllable Om and remembering me, when one leaves the material body, he will attain the supreme abode. Verse 14. Anaya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityasaha tashaham sulabha parta nityayuktasha yoginaha. O Partha, that yogi who is without deviation and constantly remembers me alone easily attains me, for he is always connected to me. Verse 15. Mamu petya punarjanma dukalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha. Those great personalities who have attained me never take birth again in this temporary world of misery, for they have reached the highest destination. Anuvritti commentary by Srila Guru Maharaj. Modern systems of yoga focus more or less on achieving a healthy condition for the body, but this is actually not the aim of yoga. The process of yoga is intended for one goal and one goal alone, to transcend the world of birth and death. There is, of course, more than one system of yoga, but all schools of yoga aim at a singular goal, liberation. As already explained in previous commentaries, the mantra Om elevates one to the stage of liberation. However, it should be noted here that the divisions of yoga, such as sense control and celibacy, must also be in place before the chanting of mantras can be effective. Mantras purify the mind and heart of material contamination, which arises from sense enjoyment. If one endeavors for purification, but at the same time does not control the senses, then it is tantamount to starting a fire while simultaneously pouring water on it. Sense control is therefore essential for those attempting to practice all forms of yoga. Verse 16. Abrahma bhuvanaloka punar arvartino arjuna mamupecha tu konteya punar janmana vidyate. O Arjuna, all planets up to the abode of Brahma are places of birth and rebirth, but those who reach me never take birth again. Verse 17. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam tehoratra vido janaha. A day of Brahma consists of 1,000 yugas, and his night also lasts for the same period. Verse 18. Avyaktadvyaktaya sarva pravavanta haragame ratragami praliyante tatravyakta samjanake. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all things become manifest from the unmanifest state. When Brahma's night begins, again they all become unmanifest. Verse 19. Bhutva grama sa eva yam bhutva praliyate ratragame vasaparta pravavatya aragame. O Partha, all living beings repeatedly take birth again and again. When Brahma's night approaches, they are absorbed into me once more, and with the arrival of Brahma's day, they are born again. Verse 20. Parastasmat tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashatsu na vinashyati. However, beyond this state is another unmanifest state that is eternal and cannot be destroyed when all other beings are annihilated. Verse 21. Avyaktoksara ityuktas tamahu paramam gatim yam prapja nani vartante tadama paramam mama. It is said to be unmanifest and eternal, and is declared to be the ultimate destination, upon attaining which one never returns. This is my supreme abode. Verse 22. Purusha sapara parta bhaktyalabhyastvananyaya yashantastani bhutane yena sarvam idam tatam. O Partha, that supreme person within whom all living beings are situated and who pervades the entire creation, can only be attained by Bhakti Yoga. Anuvritti commentary by Srila Guru Maharaj. The topmost planet in the material universe is known as Satyaloka, the abode of Brahma. Life on that planet is very long. One day in Satyaloka is equal to 4,260,000,000 years on planet Earth. Nonetheless, death occurs there also. Nowhere in the material universe is free from death. At the end of each of Brahma's days, there is a partial annihilation in the universe and a total annihilation of the universe at the end of Brahma's life. The partial annihilations are called pralaya, and the final annihilation is called mahapralaya. Everything in the universe has a beginning and an end. All things come into being, and eventually all things are destroyed. Creation, duration, and annihilation are the three basic phases of the universe. Yet Bhagavad Gita does not subscribe to an apocalyptic worldview or an end-of-time scenario in which we will all be judged. The predominating deities of creation, duration, and annihilation are the three guna avatars, Brahma, Mahavishnu, and Shiva, respectively. Brahma manifests the second creation, Mahavishnu maintains the creation, and Shiva, by producing a sound vibration from his Damaru drum, brings about the annihilation. These guna avatars are portions of the plenary expansions of Krishna, the avatari, or origin of all avatars. During the periods of annihilation, both partial and complete, the living beings rest in a state of slumber within the body of Mahavishnu and are again manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. This is repeated over and over again on a cosmic time scale until Brahma reaches the end of his life, at which point the entire universe is again wound up in the body of Mahavishnu. Everything necessary for the manifestation of the material universe, and indeed billions and trillions of universes, is provided by Mahavishnu in the form of Mahat Tattva, the aggregate of material elements. And at the time of annihilation, that energy is again absorbed into Mahavishnu. Energy is neither created or destroyed, as it exists always as Krishna's apara prakriti, inferior material energy. That energy is endlessly mutable, manifest and unmanifest, but ultimately it is never destroyed. Krishna and all his energies are eternal. Once again, the same point is being reiterated by Krishna, that his supreme abode is beyond material nature, eternally manifest, never unmanifest, beyond birth and death, and once going there, one does not return to samsara. That supreme abode of Krishna is Goloka Vrindavan, and it is attainable only through the process of Bhakti Yoga. The supreme abode is mentioned in Brihad Bhagavat Amrita as follows. Goloka namopari sarvasimha go vaikuntato desha vishesha sekaraha sachatad braja lokanam srimat prema nuvartina Krishne Shuddha Tarena Iva Bhavinai Kena Labhyate. Far from this material universe is the beautiful abode of Sri Krishna that is known as Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost Vaikuntha planet. Goloka is only attained through Bhakti Yoga by those who follow in the footsteps of the people of Braj who have pure love for Krishna. That was the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Verse 23. Yatra kali tvanavritam avritam chaiva yoginaha prayatayanti tam kalam lakshami bharatashabha. O best of the descendants of Bharat, I shall now explain to you those times that the yogis attain either liberation or rebirth at the moment of their departure. Verse 24. Agnirjyotiraha shukla sanmasha uttarayanam tatra prayata gachanti brahma vidojanaha. Those who know Brahman pass from this world on the path of fire and light during the time of the waxing moon or during the 6 months when the sun traverses the northern hemisphere. Verse 25. Dumo ratris tata krishnaha sanmasa dakshinayanam tatra chandram asam jyotir yogi prapcha nivartate. Departing on the path of darkness during the night, during the waning moon, or during the 6 months when the sun makes its course across the southern hemisphere, that yogi attains the celestial lunar planet, but then returns. Verse 26. Shukla Krishna gate ete jagata shashvate mate ekaya janavritim anyaya vartate punaha. Both these paths of light and darkness are accepted as being permanent in this world. By one path one does not return, by the other path one returns. Verse 27. Naite shrite partha janam yogi muyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukta bhavarjuna. The yogi who knows these two paths is never bewildered. Therefore, O Arjuna, at all times be fixed in yoga. Verse 28. Videshu yagneshu tapashu chaiva daneshu yat punya palam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param stanam upaiti chadyam. Knowing this, a yogi surpasses all kinds of pious results that are achieved through the study of the Vedas, by offering oblations and sacrifice, by penances, and by philanthropy. That yogi reaches the eternal abode. Anuvritti commentary by Srila Guru Maharaj. To attain the higher planets within the material universe, one must study the Vedas, offer sacrifice, perform penances and acts of charity. One who has performed these activities is reborn on a higher planet and lives a long life, enjoying great luxury for tens of thousands of years. However, the Bhakti yogi has no desire to enjoy in higher planets. He easily achieves all the benefits of sacrifice, penance, etc. simply by surrendering to Sri Krishna. The Bhakti yogi does not have to choose an auspicious moment to leave the material body because he is under the shelter of Krishna. Everything is auspiciously ordained for those who have surrendered to Krishna, enabling them to reach Krishna's eternal abode. But the yogi who is not in Bhakti Yoga does not achieve the supreme abode of Krishna, nor does he easily ascend to higher planets at the time of death. Factually speaking, the yogi has to choose the time of his death, so as to pass from the body at the most opportune time. He must choose wisely, otherwise he is born again on this earth. Needless to say, this is a near impossibility, especially for ordinary people. Therefore, it is the yogi in Bhakti Yoga that is most assured of success. Om Tat Saditi Sri Mahabharati Shata Sahasriyam Samhitayam Vayasikyam Bhishma Parvani Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supani Satsu Brahma Vijayam Yoga Shastri Sri Krishna Arjuna Sambade Tarka Brahma Yogo Namastamo Dhyayaha. Om Tat Sat. Thus ends Chapter 8 entitled Tarka Brahma Yoga, from the conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna in the Upanishad known as Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Shastra of divine knowledge from the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, the literature revealed by Vyasa in 100,000 verses. And so we end chapter 8, and we will begin chapter 9, Raja Guhya Yoga, the yoga of the greatest secret, in the next segment. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.